Okay, so in this next video, I want to explain something very basic. I want to go from the most basic point into practice. And I'm doing this not because I want to bother you or anything, but it's because when I mark exams and homeworks and activities, I think maybe 75% of the mistakes come from these very basic concepts and very basic steps or techniques, or I don't know how to call it. But so that's why I want to spend a few minutes. I promise I won't take more than 10 minutes explaining the basics, but I think it's important that you know this. If you are super pro on this, just watch it and let it go. But if you haven't practiced that much, I think this can be useful for you. This is the way I teach. I always try to go from the very basic, and it can help you. So let me show you what I am talking about. The first thing that I want to show you is how do you convert from one currency to another. So for example, I will write a very easy exercise. I am asking you to convert 100 pesos to dollars. So this is the task. How should you convert pesos to dollars? And I'm going from a very basic perspective, because this is the one that we use, right? Like we convert pesos to other currencies. So we are, especially to dollars, so we know what we're talking about. So but I will do it in a way that you can then do it again in any currency, and it will help you a lot. So let me go step by step. So the first thing it says that convert 100 pesos to dollars. So another important thing is that I like to write everything, and it's also a suggestion that I am giving you because of two reasons. First, if you write everything, you won't lose track of what you're doing, because sometimes that happens, like you start just writing numbers and then you forgot what you're doing. So the first thing is because you don't lose track of what you're doing. And the second thing is that, and this has to be more with school, but in this course, if you make a mistake, but you show me step by step how are you solving the problem, I can find maybe where is your mistake, and then I can take out only a few points, right? So if you don't do it step by step, or if you don't show me what are you doing, it's difficult for me to find your mistake and to give you some points. So if you just give me a number and it's wrong, I can't do anything. So it's better if you go step by step. So it's an advice I think you can follow. Like it helps you to keep track of what you're doing, and it also helps me to give you points in case of a mistake. So let me show you how I will do it. So I will write that I have 100 pesos, right? I write like this because it helps me on Excel to do the formulas. So I write 100 and then pesos next to that. But you can do it however you want. If you're doing it by hand, it's easier. So it's okay. The next step, and this is something that I forget in here, is to give you the exchange rate. So the exchange rate will be 20 pesos per dollar. This is something that I need to give you. So convert 100 pesos to dollars if the exchange rate is 20 pesos per dollar. So then I need to write the exchange rate, pesos per dollar. Now it seems super dumb what I am doing, because probably you already have it in your head, but if we change currencies, maybe it gets complicated. So now the question is, what is the mathematical operation that I need to do? Do I need to multiply, or do I need to divide the 100 over 20, or 100 times 20? I think all of you are thinking divide, right? Divide 100 pesos over 20. But what's the reason for this? If you think mathematically, and probably this will help you. Imagine that this is, or imagine, it actually is, this is a fraction, right? Like 20 pesos over a dollar. 20 pesos equals $1. And in here, I only have pesos, right? I only have pesos on top. And I don't have anything at the bottom, so it's like a 1, right? If I see it in a fraction, it will be pesos over 1, because it's only pesos, 100 pesos. So mathematically, in the end, I want to finish with dollars, right? I want to cancel my pesos. So how do I cancel pesos if I have pesos on top and pesos on top? And this is important. Take note of this. I think this will help you throughout the whole course and maybe other courses. So if you have pesos on top, both pesos top, pesos on top, pesos on top. The way that you cancel the pesos is with a division, right? So you need to divide, because imagine if you multiply, you will end up having pesos squared, right? Because pesos times pesos, pesos squared. And what is a peso squared? That doesn't exist. So you need to be careful on that. If you want to prove it mathematically, how can you cancel pesos by dividing? You can remember the tortilla law that maybe you learned in high school or something. So you have, sorry. If you want to do the division, it will look something like this, right? Maybe you remember this from high school, as I said, pesos, and this is pesos over dollar. So the tortilla law says that you multiply whatever you have at the top and at the bottom. So the answer to this will be something like pesos times, you can write in parentheses to help you understand, it will be something like this. And at the bottom, you have, because you are multiplying the one on the top times the one at the bottom, right? This is tortilla law. Los de arriba multiplicados y los de en medio. Okay, so then you multiply the ones that you have in the middle, and this is 1 times pesos. So now that you have it like here, you can easily eliminate. How do I write that? Don't know. What? Should be, I can delete it like this, right? Cancel the pesos. I cancel the pesos here because they are dividing, and then I only have this. Okay, it says -1. So I only have dollars. So this is the mathematical way with the tortilla law to show you that the way in which you can cancel pesos on top, it's with a division. So you can forget about this if you are not that into math. It was just a way to prove that it's correct. But in the end, if you remember this, if you take note of this, it will work. When you have the same currency on top, you divide. And when you have it the other way around, we'll show you when we have one on top and one at the bottom, we will multiply, but I will do another example. So now I only need to divide this over this. And what do I have? What? $5, right? Because I am canceling the pesos. So it seems easy. It's easy actually, but it's important that you manage this at its perfection, because you will be doing things like this all the time in this course and maybe in other courses, especially if you're doing finance or accounting. So let me give you another example, and it will be also an easy example. Now it will be $100 to pesos, and the exchange rate is 21 pesos per dollar, right? So now I will write it again. I always like to go step by step. It doesn't matter if it takes more time, because it helps me to find if I'm making a mistake. So I have $100. Now it's different. I used to have pesos, now dollars. Also, another important tip, you need to read very carefully, because another important source of mistakes is not reading carefully. And it's not only for students, and me as a teacher, it also happens. I think it happens to everyone. So be careful when you read, please, okay? Then the next thing that I want to do is to write the exchange rate. In this case, the exchange rate is, I will just copy it, 21 pesos over dollar, right? That's what it says in here. So what should I do, division or multiplying? So the answer is multiplying this time, right? Maybe you already have it in your mind, or maybe you know that dollars are on top and at the bottom, and then it's very easy just to cancel dollars if you're multiplying this, right? So if you multiply 100 times 21, we will get the amount of pesos and the answer, okay? So now let's do a more complicated example, okay? So this can maybe get a little bit more complicated. So now let's think that, let me think about two exchange rates that can be confusing. Maybe let's convert 100, and let's also change the amounts. Maybe like I have 89.5 pounds, and I want to convert that to euros, okay? And the exchange rate is 1.2 pounds per euro, okay? Something like this. So let's go step by step. 89.5 pounds, and I have it in here as just like this, right? Like one. So these are my pounds. Then I write the exchange rate, 1.2 pounds over euro. So now let's think if I need to multiply or divide. I have pounds on top, pounds on top. That means that I need to what? I need to divide, right? And it will look something like this, 74 euros. Maybe you are thinking that it doesn't make sense, that if you have more euros, how on earth will you finish with less? Sorry, if you have more pounds, how on earth are you ending up with less euros? And this is a tricky question that I specifically did right now, because what I am doing in here is that I am giving you a really weird exchange rate, because this is not a real exchange rate. It doesn't make sense. It's usually that the pound is more expensive than the euro, and this, if you take a look at Google, it will look different. It will look something like this, maybe 0.8, because a pound is more expensive than a euro. But here I am kind of tricking you, because I am giving you a really weird exchange rate, but you have to do it in the way that I give you. I mean, like, if I give you this exchange rate, do the exercise with this exchange rate. It doesn't matter if it sounds weird. But if I am giving you 1.2 pounds over euro, you will be like, why 1.2 pounds over euro? It doesn't make sense. It's like, imagine that I give you $20 per peso. It doesn't make sense at all, right? But in the exercises or wherever, activities or homework, just follow my instructions. So I won't be that like the bad guy that I will trick you with a lot of things, but I just did it right now just to kind of make you think better, right? So it doesn't matter if you're thinking like, it doesn't make sense, maybe it's multiplying. No, 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 no. Always think like this. If you have pounds on top and you have pounds on top, you will need to divide. Just to keep our minds same, I will change the exchange rate to a more realistic exchange rate, and it will look something like this. And now it makes sense, right? Like, you have almost 100 pounds, and if you compare that to euros, you will end up with more than 100 euros, right? That makes sense. So I think with that, I will finish this basic video about exchange rates and converting currencies. I hope that you find interesting, and I hope that you are taking notes of this. And don't worry, we'll keep practicing. We will practice a lot for this thing.